question is, are you ready?
What do you guys want to talk about?
Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Throwdown Nation, what is going on? We are live. It is a Tuesday evening, May 26th, 2026. We are rolling on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter/X, Facebook, and Twitch. It's episode 231 of the Throwdown, the community on the interwebs where we celebrate the art and sport of professional wrestling with a strong focus on the indies. I'm your host, Matt, and today we are heading back to a state that we've spent a lot of time in recently, at least virtually, because there is just so much great wrestling happening there. I speak of California. And today we have with us a guy based in San Diego in Southern California, a wrestler and also co-owner and head trainer at Primal Pro Wrestling. Welcome with me, the Playmaker himself, J2 Mattioli. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. I've been looking forward to this. You know, I've got to actually really credit Chris Page for really turning me on to what's going on out in California. And man, you and Danny Devine are just running Southern California. I mean,
I appreciate that. That means a lot.
absolutely, brother. And, you know, for those of you watching live, let me direct your attention to the ticker that's running on the bottom of the screen. That contains all or at least most of J2's social media accounts along with mine. So do us a favor, if you aren't following or subscribed, take the time and go to each of the platforms and do so. It definitely helps both of us. And again, for those of you watching live, if you've got questions or comments, just throw them in the chat and we'll either handle them as we go or do a little Q&A at the end. So we'll go ahead and get started with the first and really the most obvious question, and that is, how long have you been wrestling?
So I've been wrestling for about 8 years now. That's what I would say. Yeah, 8 years.
Okay. Who actually trained you?
So I was trained by B-Boy, New Age Punisher. He is known for doing CZW in Jersey, as well as doing a bit of PWG. He was a very big guy for San Diego. He's kind of one of the top names you could think of in the West Coast. Very big indie name. He wrestled with a lot of the big names like AJ Styles, Generico, you know, Kevin Steen, those kind of names. Yep. So that was the guy who got me in this business.
Nice. So you had a good learning tree to sit under.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So are you originally from California, or did you end up there from somewhere else?
So I was originally born in Mexico. I was born in Baja California, very south. I would say I was kind of all the way down south of Baja, and then I ended up moving up to California and San Diego when I was 2 years old. But I've pretty much been raised in San Diego all my life.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, in the earliest stages of your wrestling training, what would you say was the most challenging aspect of professional wrestling for you to kind of wrap your mind and body around?
Honestly, the hardest thing was I could not roll to save my life when I first started. I just could not get the back roll. I could not get the front rolls. I couldn't get up. My body was just not I just didn't know what to do, and it was the hardest thing, and I just couldn't understand why I couldn't do it, and I kept working and I figured it out, and I just kept coming in, and then finally I got it. But that was definitely the toughest part about wrestling for me.
Gotcha. So, when, before starting professional wrestling training, did you have any other kind of athletic or other type of martial arts background? Had you done other sports or anything like that before?
Yeah, yeah. I was pretty athletic as a kid. I played a lot of sports as a kid, like baseball, did karate, things like that. But in high school, I played football. I also did lacrosse. I played lacrosse in college as well. I also did wrestling in high school, and I also played soccer as well.
Nice. My son is actually a lacrosse player.
Oh, nice. What
Yeah,
position did you
yeah.
play?
He is mostly a midi.
Okay.
Does some attack when needed, but he's pretty much a midi.
Nice. I was more of the face-off guy. I was in there fighting for the ball, and then I'd get it out. And if it was on defense, I stayed in. If it was on offense, I threw it off and I got out.
Yeah, he did face-offs for a while and still does them on occasion if he's playing in a JV game.
Hmm.
On varsity, they've got a really good face-off guy, so he pretty much does the majority of it for the varsity games. But Zach, like I said, he'll occasionally do a face-off in a JV game, but he's going to be a senior next year, so JV is kind of a thing of the past now. But
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, so so I'm presuming that just based on the fact that the majority of people I've had on the show have answered it this way, I'm presuming you've been at least a fan of professional wrestling the majority of your life. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, I got more into wrestling when I was about 8 years old. I was kind of brought up into wrestling. When I was a kid, I was actually best friends with Rey Mysterio Sr., the original Rey Mysterio. His
Really?
wife worked, yeah, yeah, his wife worked with my mom, and I would stay over at her mom's house, and I would be like playmates with Rey Mysterio Senior's son. So on the weekends we would go to Mexico and watch lucha libre matches. And this was when I was like 5, 6 years old, and I was going to these matches. And it's funny because I honestly didn't really care about lucha libre when I was a kid. I thought it was all right, but like I didn't think it was that cool. But when I got into WWE, that's where I thought it was cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been a fan since I was around 11, and I'll be 57 in September. So I've been following the business for 40 plus years. Kind of grew up in the territory days. It's been a cool run because I've gotten to see a lot of significant events in modern wrestling history as they happened, rather than retrospectively. Like I've got to see the Monday Night Wars start to finish, rise and fall of ECW. Grew up in the territory days, so yeah, it has been a cool span of time to be a fan in. So
Very cool. Very cool.
so I'm presuming the lucha libre shows in Mexico are probably your earliest wrestling related memories.
Yeah, those are probably the first things I experienced as far as wrestling itself. But the biggest memories I always remember is how I kind of really got into WWE, and that was when my friend, a close friend of mine, he was watching WrestleMania 20 in the back, and I just went to the back to hang out with him, and I was like, "What is he watching?" And he was watching Undertaker make his return as the Dead Man against Kane, and I saw the whole
Nice.
promo package. I saw how he got buried, and I'm like, I think I was like 10, maybe 10 years old, and I was just mesmerized by this story. And then when he came out, I thought he was a real dead person walking through, like a ghost walking through the ring. And I thought he was the coolest guy ever. So that was my earliest memory of like WWE wrestling that really got me.
Yeah, yeah. My earliest feud that I remember being somewhat invested in was as a kid in Florida watching the old Florida Championship Wrestling with Gordon Soley doing commentary. It was Dusty Rhodes and Kevin Sullivan.
Oh,
And and back, when you're 11 years old, man, Kevin Sullivan was a scary dude at the time. He had this whole satanic gimmick going on. In many ways, he was sort of the predecessor or the front runner to like an Undertaker or a Bray Wyatt type of character. He had the scary supernatural stuff going on. So yeah. So kind of give us the story of your involvement with Primal Pro Wrestling. How did that all come about? And kind of give us the story of Primal Pro.
so pretty much Primal Pro was something that was started uh, because of pretty much San Diego wrestling was this kind of place that would get a promotion and things would go good, but then there was always like certain people that would be involved that would kind of ruin the promotion to some degree. And unfortunately for me, I kind of went through each phase of the promotions that were involved. I started with a promotion like Battle U, then that kind of went away, and then it became another promotion called Level Up, and then that also had a promotion called Ground Zero, and then it went to SD Pro. So it was kind of jumbling around to different names, different ownerships, and I was kind of going through this whole ride. And pretty much when I got to the SD Pro era, my coach was no longer part of it. He got kicked out, and we were kind of told, "Hey, this is how things are going to go, and everything's going to be great." And I just was not happy with the direction after a couple weeks and months of just kind of seeing where the direction was going. It just wasn't what I signed up for. And I was kind of getting a bit frustrated, and because I put a lot of time and effort into Level Up, I put a lot of time and effort into SD Pro, trying to better the students. Because my main priority was to help the school, help the next generation of wrestlers. But I just felt like my work wasn't really cared for, and I also felt like it was kind of a dead end kind of promotion for me. So I was thinking about going out and just focusing on my own career, and leaving the school and just being a wrestler full time and not teaching or anything like that. And one of my students, he kind of came up to me and he noticed that I was kind of down, and he could tell I was just not the same. And that student was Antonio Rivers. He approached me and he said, "Hey, what do you think if we started our own school?" And I said, "Whoa, man, you're crazy. I think that's a stupid idea." I it, I was brought up very old school. You don't start a school till you're like 20 years in and you've been places and stuff like that. And I was like, "Oh man, we're gonna play with fire." And I knew that if I started a school so soon, I might get a bit of heat. And he had to really talk me into it because I kept telling him no. And then his parents kind of talked me into it. They kind of, told me, "Hey, we notice what you're doing. We know what you do. Our son tells us how you train people. I think you should venture off and do your own thing." And I kind of looked at Antonio and I said, "Hey, man, like, is this really what you want to do?" And he said, "Look, man, I think you're a great coach. I think a lot of people would learn so much from you, and I think you just need the opportunity to do that. And I'm willing to help you and give you the ring. I'm willing to give you what you need." Because at the time I didn't have any money or anything to do it, and Antonio was
Right.
willing to help me out to get this ring. And originally we were just gonna train people in a garage. That was what it was gonna be, and that's what it started as. But then we kind of got his parents kind of talked us into making it this whole big thing, this grand show of like Primal Pro, and we weren't really gonna. I didn't want to do that until like I felt the school was like ready, and but I mean it worked regardless, as you can tell, worked out regardless. It was something that was originally just kind of brought up to me, and then I said, all right, let's do it. And then a lot of students from the school, they when they saw that I got kicked out, and then some of the coaches left because I got kicked out and came over, those students all started to trickle in, and that promotion school doesn't exist anymore, and now we're one of the best schools down in San Diego.
Nice, nice. So, I've over the time that I've done this show, I've had a number of trainers on the show, and some of them have mentioned that they will know to a fairly good degree of accuracy pretty early on if someone is going to stick around. Basically, if a new student is going to be there for the long haul. And do you have that gift yourself? And if so, what are your tells? How do you know early on if somebody's gonna hang out?
Well, for me, it's kind of interesting because a lot of our students, I would say Primal has one of the best retention rates. I have about 50 something students, which is a lot compared to other schools. I know a lot of schools, they're very quick to get a lot of signups, and then a lot of those students tend to leave just because wrestling's so tough and they can't really handle the not just the workouts and the training, but also just, the old school mentality of like, the door's right there if you can't handle it, and coaches being pretty straightforward and being a little more cutthroat. But I think the way we do things at Primal are very different from the classic old school ways. I feel like we're a little more patient. I feel like we're willing to listen and kind of have more empathy for our students. So I feel like our students tend to actually stick with it, which is interesting because the guys that you would think are going to leave in a day or a month or whatever, they tend to stay because of the attention to detail that our trainers do at Primal. So yes, I can kind of tell, but it's interesting because the guys that you think are going to quit, they just don't. They want to stick with it.
Yep. So, I'm sure there's been a lot of them over the time you've been doing this, but what have been some of your proudest moments as a trainer?
Well, one of them just happened. My proudest moment was having Primal's first ever female group of students. We had our first two girls have their debut match on Sunday at Primal Rage, and I was really, really working hard to get these girls ready. One thing that I don't know if I'll get in trouble for this, but one thing I really feel is that a lot of women in wrestling are kind of speed run to training because I understand that there's not a lot of them. I understand that women are a commodity, and when a trainer gets a girl to come into the school, they just want to push her out as quickly as possible, and they kind of let them get away with bad habits. They kind of like let them get away with certain things. So I feel like I've really put the time and effort to help these girls, and I was just really proud to see them on Sunday, and I think they did a fantastic job. Are they perfect? No, but they, in my opinion, they really surprised, and they did a lot better than some girls that I've seen that have been in the business for years. And these girls have been just putting in the work. So that was definitely a proud moment. But mostly my biggest proud moments to me is just when my students get recognition. Not so much when people say, hey, J2's the reason. I just get happy when my students are getting opportunities for TV, or they are getting a tryout for something, or just getting put in good storylines, and they're getting seen for the talent they have. Those are really the proud moments that I really enjoy.
Gotcha. Looking over at the Instagram chat, we've got a few people making their way in. We've got actually the new One Division Pro champion, Phineas' son, is hanging out with us. And then we've got Southern California's own Wendy Mendez. Uh, and Wendy is actually coming on the show
Oh wow.
toward the end of June. We're doing a superfan spotlight, and we're going to have her on just to talk some wrestling and find out her story.
Yeah, Wendy's one of the best fans of SoCal. If you ask anybody, they know who she is. You go to a show, you can hear her, and we love hearing Wendy.
Awesome, awesome. So, away from wrestling and all of this, what are some of your hobbies and interests? What do you like to do with whatever spare time you might have, which probably isn't a lot?
I actually used to be very big into drawing. I used to like drawing comic books, Japanese style comic books. I used to really big into anime. That was something I was really passionate about. I used to write stories and things like that. That was one of my favorite hobbies I had. At time to time, I'll draw pictures here and there, but that was something that was very big in my life. Another thing that I really also enjoyed was theater. I was a very big theater guy. I was in theater for most of high school, all 4 years. I did a lot of plays, musicals. I also did I also did plays in college as well as traveling shows. I took a mime class and really learned a lot of things in acting. I also did film and commercials in Hollywood. I had an agent and got really into the TV stuff. And I was actually in a movie and I played a supporting role. And I got to do a lot of things that I really wanted to do as a kid. And those were my hobbies and passions as well. And I'm very fortunate to do those things. And then my other big passion is I love soccer. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love to play. I love to play on video games. I like to watch it. It's just it's the funnest thing, and I'm excited for the World Cup. So that's what I'm into.
Nice, nice. So, we're obviously mostly a wrestling related show, but we do dabble a little bit into pop culture, and I'm always looking for recommendations. So, by any chance, are you watching or listening to anything really cool right now?
Watching or listening. I mean, I'm getting into a lot of I'm getting into the stuff like The Boys. I started watching The Boys TV show. That's well the it's on Prime, I believe. Been
Amazon,
watching that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been watching The Boys. I also watch Invincible. I love that show. That's one of my favorite shows to watch on there. So things like that. My wife's trying to get me into Daredevil. I haven't really gotten too much into it, but I kind of skimmed through Daredevil, and she's starting to watch Punisher. So that's also something else. So things like that. That's the stuff I'm trying to kind of get more into.
Nice. Nice, nice. My son has been after me to watch Invincible, so I need to carve out the time and because I've heard great things.
Oh yeah, it's
So
very good.
another outside of wrestling question, and that is outside of wrestling, what person inspires you the most and why?
Outside of wrestling, the person that inspires me, it's two people. The first one is a person that I personally know, and that's my mom. My mom is probably the most inspirational person to me because growing up, she's just so those people know is she's not my real mom. She's actually more like my adoptive mother. She raised me when I was young. She raised my when my dad brought me over to San Diego. He had to work in Mexico because he had farms and all that kind of stuff over there. So he couldn't really watch me over here. So I had my mom watch me, and she was a teacher. She had about four kids. She was older when she was watching me. She was about in her 60s, and she's the reason that I'm the person I am today. And watching her be a strong, independent woman who pretty much ran the house. She was the one bringing in the money. She went to college, and I also saw how influential my mother was in the community. She was a principal of a preschool, and all these families knew her. Every time we went to the store, people would stop her, say hi, because my mom was so easy to find. She had this big, poofy, curly hair, black hair, and people could find her. And yeah, she truly inspires me because she changed people's lives, and it's funny because I never thought I was gonna be like my mom, but I feel like I'm pretty much like my mom, but through wrestling, and it's a cool thing to see. So that's my biggest inspiration as far as real life. And my other inspiration is Cristiano Ronaldo. I love that guy. He has an incredible work ethic. Uh, he's the guy that whenever I kind of get in my head about stuff, and I always think about him. He has great motivational speeches about working hard and getting through the haters and things like that, and really being
Whoops. Looks like we may have lost
a
him.
top athlete. So
Oh.
he's the guy that I really look up. Oh, am I there?
You there? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm there.
Are-
I'm
are-
here.
okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, we just had a momentary glitch.
Okay.
So, they say that the best wrestling personas are usually pretty much yourself turned up to 11. So, kind of tell us a bit about in-ring J2 Mattioli and kind of compare and contrast him with everyday you.
Uh, I personally think he is like he's me, but the opposite of me. Like I think he's like I think it's funny because I feel like he's just what people think I am sometimes. Like that's the way I look at J2 is uh like it's like my kid. My kid thinks J2 like the joke is J2's his dad, not me. Is J2's a lot cooler than me. Yeah, because he'll always say, "Oh yeah, J2's my dad," and yeah. But as far as my personality wise, I feel like I'm a pretty patient person. I feel like I'm a pretty nice person. That's what I like to assume. Some people may say otherwise, but I feel like I'm pretty nice. But J2's like the opposite. I feel like he's impatient. He also has a temper. He's very he's very outspoken, and I feel like he's just kind of the opposite of me. So I wouldn't say he's me times 1,000. I would say he's the opposite of me times 1,000. That's more the way I would describe him. But he definitely was something different when we first started. I was really going for the futuristic Tron kind of look, and I still have inspiration with the helmet and stuff. But I've gone into the weekend persona. I took the look from the weekend. He has this red blazer that he comes out with. And one thing I thought about was why were the guys in the 80s so popular? Why was it so easy for these audiences to like Ricky the Dragon and these guys? And then I thought about it and I said, well, they're kind of based off these celebrities. They're based off of these characters. And I said, well, who's a famous celebrity today that kids would know nowadays? I said, The Weeknd. And I love The Weeknd. So I started wearing the blazer and people started saying, oh, you're The Weeknd. So that's how I did it.
Nice. But yeah, your walkout is extremely cool.
Thank you.
Love the helmet. I mean the whole thing is just very different, and it feels like it's something that's really kind of come about. You even mentioned very organically. It just sort of grew on its own.
Yeah, I remember when I first started doing it. I did it since my debut, but I remember my coach is kind of like, I don't know about the helmet, man. I don't think people are gonna get it.
Well, it's worked.
Yeah, that's what I think. I just stuck with it.
So, tell us about your very first match. What was it like? How did it go? What were your thoughts?
So my first match was at a promotion called Fist Combat. It's a promotion here in San Diego. They're no longer around. And I remember I was doing a seminar for Teddy Hart. I know some people have their feeling about Teddy Hart, but at the time he was okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Teddy Hart had a seminar, and I was in the seminar, and the promoter, he saw me, and he went up to my coach B-boy and was like, "Hey man, we need somebody for a match. The one of the tag champs, he can't make it." Luckily enough, the match was against my other two classmates, Casey Douglas and Michael Hopkins. So Benny asked me if I had my gear, which I did at the time. He already asked me to get gear. So I had it in my car, and you know what they say, always have your gear, and I had it. So I had my debut right there, and I wrestled my two best friends, which was awesome. I was in the other guy's team, this guy from Santino Brothers called Donnie Suarez. And the match was fine. You know, it was funny because I came out super white meat baby face, baby blue pants, and I went, "Let's go!" and the crowd, the crowd hated me. They booed me out the door. They were like, "Who's this jabron? Get him out of here!" And oh man, and it's funny because the match ends with my buddies. They used to have a gimmick called AK Rambe where they came out with a gorilla. So what they did is they would put a banana in their opponent's mouth and they'd super kick the guy. So that's how they beat me. They put the banana in my mouth, double super kick, and then they became the new tag champs. And I lost the title with the guy. And then after the match, I didn't even know. My partner just grabs me, gives me a Death Valley driver in the corner, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, is this supposed to happen?" I didn't even know. So that was my experience, my first match ever.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So we've heard about the first one. Now, if you can narrow it down, tell us about your favorite match that you've been a part of.
Oh man, I've had a lot of matches I really enjoy, but if I really had to choose a match that really means the world to me, was my first match in Japan. That was for a promotion called YMZ in Shinjuku. Yeah, I think Shinjuku maybe. But I wrestled this guy from DDT, and it was a singles match, and it was a small little building. But just the fact that I made it to Japan, and I finally got to wrestle a Japanese wrestler, and the fact that he didn't speak English, he didn't speak Spanish, and we had a solid match, and I was really surprised, and I was just like, wow, wrestling really is a universal language. You don't have to speak. You don't have to speak the same language to have a good match, and that match just really means a lot to me. So that was probably my favorite match of all time.
Absolutely. You know, just again, looking over at the Instagram chat, Chris Page just stuck his nose in and basically just wanted to show you some love and mention a hell of a women's debut match for Primal. You hearing me?
You like cut off for a second, but can you repeat it? We're good.
Oh now. Yeah. So Chris Page basically popped in on the Instagram chat, and he just wanted to show you some love and mentioned that it was a hell of a women's debut match at Primal.
Oh man, thank you, Chris. I'm glad he enjoyed it. I know he was really looking forward to that match.
So, you know, I'm sure in the 8 years you've been doing this, you've had the opportunity to kind of work both sides of the aisle, so to speak. But do you have a preference yourself between working heel or baby, or is it really just entirely what the situation calls for, or do you prefer one or the other?
I love working as a heel. It's the best. I love pissing people off.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because like you can kind of say what you want to say, and the fact that you're just in such control of the mood and the pacing, and man, it's just a great feeling to be a bad guy and that you're able to just rile up people so easily. It's just great. I love it.
Absolutely. You know, as a fan, I have always gravitated more to the heels. Anyway, usually, in my opinion anyway, the heels are the more compelling characters. Because there's usually a reason why they are the way they are. And you know, finding out the backstory and everything is just cool. So,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
um, so again, you've been doing this for 8 years, and I'm sure you've developed at least some of these. So, what would you say is your biggest wrestling related pet peeve? We've lost your audio. Not hearing you. Not hearing you. Hang on. Ah, I think maybe it just came back.
Can you hear
No.
me now? Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Here.
Perfect. All right, so my biggest pet peeve is probably just I really dislike when your opponents show up super last minute, and I'm gonna pick on a certain group of wrestlers here, and I know a lot of people agree with me on this one. I really dislike when luchadors come super late to a show and they will not call their match with you until literally when the show starts, and it's not even like, it's just the laziest stuff. You could tell they don't even want to call a crazy match. They just want to hit their greatest hits and go home. And I'm just like, how? Like, you guys are these amazing athletes and you guys just, I just don't understand it. I just don't understand. And I get it. I get it. People don't want to spend their whole days at a building sitting around waiting, but like, I just, man, it just really gets me when these guys just show up super last minute. And I know a lot of people that would agree with me on this one.
Yep, yep, yeah. My philosophy has always been if you're on time, you're late.
Yep.
You've got to. I'm chronically early to everything. So
Same.
yeah. So you've been doing this, like I keep repeating, for 8 years. So this happened during that span of time. How did you navigate the pandemic, wrestling career wise?
So when the pandemic happened, there was that big break from wrestling. Everyone kind of just didn't have anything to do. There's no training, no nothing.
Right.
Unfortunately for me, I didn't get to collect the free money from the government. I had to work during the pandemic. I had a job that was considered a necessary job at the
Mm-hmm.
time, so I was working crazy. Unfortunately, I wasn't making that much money, but I was getting paid.
Yeah.
But during the pandemic, luckily our school was able to. It was Level Up at the time. We were able to kind of hold trainings. We were one of the only schools that was actually open, and they legally too. We were following protocols to actually, you could only train with one person. You had to wear your masks, all that kind of stuff, and luckily for me, I was able to train with my partner Michael Hopkins, and then we started when things kind of started getting better. We started doing tapings with no fans, and we just started having matches and doing stories. It was kind of like what we're doing now with Primal, but with no audience. And I felt like that was the best practice that we needed at the time, because in those 2 years we were pushing to get matches, because we knew we were like, we're not going to be in front of fans. We don't know when wrestling's going to come back, but if we just do these matches, do these stories, post them on YouTube, we're going to get the reps. And we were getting reps out of it and writing cool stories. And so I really improved, and I figured out J2 in that time span during COVID. That's how I figured out how to be a better babyface, be a better wrestler during that time.
Nice, nice. So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? Is there a match that's just near and dear to your heart that you find yourself circling back to? Do you have such a match or
Yeah,
matches?
yeah. I would say I definitely have some matches that I truly enjoy. My favorite match that I always could watch a million times is I really like watching Misawa uh, versus I can't think right now, but it's a Masawa match, and it's when he was older too. This is closer to his older age, and it was just really cool to watch him wrestle. Uh, it's a student. He wrestled his student. Um, I can't think. I can't think. People are gonna get so mad at me because they know I'm a big Japanese wrestler and I can't think this guy's name. Marufuji. He wrestles Marufuji, his own student. And I love this match because we're seeing an old Misawa, and people are kind of, oh, he's old, he just can't do what he used to. But him and his student are just going crazy. He's moving with them. They're doing these spots, and he's looking like the young Misawa that we all love. And it was just amazing watching this match, and it kind of makes me think about myself and how I want to work with my students. Is how he helps Marufuji just look amazing, and Marufuji also pushing him as well. And that match is one of my favorites of all time.
Got you. So, piggybacking on to that question, do you have an all time favorite promo as a fan?
Yes, I do actually.
Okay.
Um, my
What you got?
all so my all-time favorite promo, uh, it's always gonna be um, I know most people would say like Stone Cold, Stone Cold's 316, things like that. But for me, I think it's gotta be, oh man, I think it's when WrestleMania 20, when Eddie Guerrero was cutting this promo on Brock, and you see the promo package where he's like, I lie, I am addicted, all these kind of things. It was just crazy to see him cut this amazing promo. And I was never a big Eddie Guerrero guy. I know a lot of guys will say, "Oh, I'm an Eddie guy, Eddie Guerrero." I always liked him, but I wasn't like, "Oh, Eddie's my guy." That was never
Yeah.
me. But that promo that he cut was just so real. It was
Mm-hmm.
so good, and he just knew how to get the audience to love him and hate him. And that promo where he just talks to Brock, it was just so good, so good.
Absolutely. So, this is one of these questions that the answers can literally change almost minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day, week to week. But at this very moment, in your opinion, who are the best male and best female wrestlers in the world? Who's the best man and who's the best woman?
The best male wrestler, in my opinion, is Roman Reigns. I think he's the best wrestler for the males. It's just, phew, yeah, I truly think he's the best. I used to not think so, and then I watched him and I really studied him, and I was like, oh yeah, he's up there. He's really
Yeah.
good. So yeah, definitely Roman. As far as the girls, it's so funny because you would think I'm gonna pick a name that people know, but I'm gonna go with somebody that you might know, people know, and I don't care if people think I'm biased. Or I truly believe Zara Zacher is the best women's wrestler in the world. I trained her. She has something that nobody has. Um, every time I see her in the ring, I see a superstar. I've I look at all the girls on WWE, I look at all the girls on AEW, and none of them have what she has. None of them. And I hope she sees this. I hope so. But I think she knows this too in her heart. But I truly think she is the best women's wrestler in the world.
Nice. So, and this can be present day or past. Who would be a dream opponent? Who would the Playmaker love to have the opportunity to share a ring with?
Man, I'm gonna say two, just because one of them is unfortunately
Go
passed
for it.
away.
You can say as many as you want.
Masawa for sure. Masawa is someone that I wish I could wrestle. I've wrestled wrestlers that have wrestled him, and I'm extremely jealous that they got to share the ring with him. But he's definitely the one I would love to wrestle if I could. Um, but as far as alive, my biggest dream match is to wrestle Kazuchika Okada. Um,
Yes.
yeah, he is one of my favorite wrestlers of today. I truly think he's one of the best. Unfortunately, I think Roman's just a little better, just a
Yeah.
little. But Okada was up there for a long time for me, and yeah, he's definitely the guy. If you ever see me share the ring with him, just know I made it.
Absolutely. By any chance, did you see his match with Takeshita from
Yes,
the other day?
yes.
That was you know, I was expecting it to be good, but that match exceeded my expectations. I thought that was just amazingly well done.
Oh yeah, those guys. Those guys are. You could see the chemistry. You could see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's actually a perfect segue into the next question. Obviously, in-ring chemistry is a huge thing. And when you're doing what you do, you'll work various people and you'll find people that you've got really strong in-ring chemistry with, that if you're working that person, magic's going to happen. It's going to be a banger. Do you have such a person or people that if you're working them, it's just going to tear the house down?
Yeah, I always yeah, I have quite a few. But the main one that I know every time me and him share the ring is Danny Devine. I just don't know what it is. Me and him could go in the ring and we could not talk about it, and somehow me and him just we telepathically know what's gonna happen. He knows what I do, I know what he does, and I don't know. It's just it's wild to me. I've never wrestled anybody that just gets me like he does, and I think it's the same. I think he just flows with me so well. So Danny's definitely that guy. The other guy that I just have crazy chemistry with is Rebel Storm. uh he's one of the guys I helped train as well, and he's also a big part of Primal. And me and Rebel, just the same thing. We could just go out there and have a crazy match, and very character heavy, and it's because we're performers. He's a theater kid and I was a theater kid, so I feel like we gel real good in front of an audience. Another person is Michael Hopkins. He's my best friend. Me and him, we trained since we started together, and it's just every time we're in there, we just know what to do. We gel really well. And the other person, Zara Zacher. I feel like me and Zara just we're crazy good working together. She knows how to play to my size. I know how to make her look great. Things like that. And man, there's so many. There's so many. Jake Redondo. Jake Redondo and me. You guys know we have great
Oh yeah.
matches. And me and him just tear the house down every time we go out there. And it's funny because we've had
Nice.
matches where they're not long, but even if they're short, the crowd goes crazy for us because they see it. They want to see more.
Nice. So, what is your favorite move? What is something you just really enjoy doing? And on the flip side of that, is there a move that you won't do or you would at least rather not do? And that can be either giving or receiving.
So the move I love doing is my PS2 Power Slam, the one where I spin them in circles.
Yeah,
It's
love
probably
it.
my favorite. It's my favorite move to do. I get two versions of when people take it. They always tell me, "Holy crap, I did not expect to get that dizzy," or they tell me, "Whoa, that is the easiest move ever to take."
Hmm.
So that's definitely my favorite move. The move that I absolutely just don't ever want to take. Honestly, I think I would take it at some point. I just always get scared. Is the poison Rana? There's something about going backwards and spiking my head. I don't know what it is about it, but the poison Ranas is just the scariest thing sometimes. I feel like I could do it. It's just I just have to like go into it.
Right, right. Yeah, Uh, you know, as a fan, a move that I always get uncomfortable when I see it being set up for, and you don't see it much these days, but the vertebreaker.
Oh yeah,
That move has always given me the willies, just because it looks like there are so many ways that could go catastrophically bad. I
yeah.
mean, And, back during the Monday Night Wars, especially on the WCW side, they were throwing vertebreakers in almost every match, you know.
Yep. Yep.
But I mean, now I think the last time I saw one was Cody was wrestling, I think Logan Paul, and he pulled out a vertebraker and did it to Logan. And Cody's one of those people that you can trust to do it safely,
Oh
But
yeah.
I just always just get the heebie-jeebies when I see that move being set up for.
I think the other one is the cop killer. My coach used to do it all the time. I don't know if I ever want to take the cop killer. I don't know if you know what
Yeah.
that one's called. Yeah, the cop killer is crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of Danny Devine, he actually just popped in on the Instagram chat.
Nice.
So, you've again been doing this long enough that I'm sure this applies to one degree or another. So I'll ask you what hurts right now, or maybe what doesn't hurt.
Okay. My shoulder, my right shoulder definitely has been bothering me the longest. I got it injured in El Paso. I took an F5 and I turned and I kind of landed on it. So it's just been hurting ever since, but it's getting better. And I went to the doctors. They said it's healing, so I've just been doing therapy on it. But I try to be careful, and that's my big hurt right now. But yeah, I would say everything, But my shoulder is definitely like the biggest thing right now.
Gotcha. So, what is the worst bump you have taken?
Oh man, bump or just something I took?
Whatever. I mean, what is the worst? What is the worst sequence that you experienced during a match?
Oh man, I wrestled a ladder match back in Level Up against one of my favorite opponents, Cameron August. He got on a 20-foot ladder and hit me with a swanton, and it wasn't one of those swantons where they kind of like hitch and roll off. He just landed right on me, all body, and you can, if you watch the match, you can hear me just breathing, just. I thought my ribs were broken, and because Cam's not a small man, he's about 220 pounds, and that's all just falling on you. And I love it because after the match he goes, "Hey man, I couldn't feel a thing on that swanton. You were like a cushion."
Wow.
And I go, yeah, I took all of it.
Nice. So, knowing everything you know at this point in your life, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
I would tell him, I would have told him to not worry about impressing people that don't want him to succeed. I would tell him to just worry about himself and worry about the people that care about him, his friends that support him in his journey and his family. Those are the biggest things I would tell him, not to worry so much what people from other places and stuff think about him.
Gotcha. So, do you have any pre-show traditions? Any things that you try to do consistently before you walk through the curtain?
Not really. I just I kind of sit down, I'm on my phone, and when it's time to go, I just kind of. You ever seen the Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
There's a behind the scenes of Leonardo DiCaprio where he's just kind of like, what's the line? He's Leonardo, and then when the scene starts moving, he just turns into the character. That's literally what I do. I'm Juan, and then in the back, and then when my match is about to go on, I just kind of put the helmet on, and I have the little visor up, and then when my music starts playing, I just flip the visor, and then I become the guy.
The switch flips.
That's it. Yeah.
Nice. So, give us kind of just a quick rundown of your gear bag. What all do you carry in your gear, and do you carry anything unique or unusual?
So I always carry, obviously, my boots, my knee pads, my tights. I usually bring like compression uh, underwear, something tight, because I try not to wear just like regular underwear or briefs because you can kind of see it through the tights. I also have KT tape for my shoulder or my knees if there's any like muscles hurting. I also have Tiger Balm in there, so if anything's hurting, I kind of rub some Tiger Balm. Um, Obviously some wrist tape for my nose as well. I also have deodorant. Sometimes you get a little smelly, so you gotta carry some deodorant with you. I also have some mousse usually for my hair, well, especially when my hair is short. I just put mousse in there. The other thing I have is a towel because I get super sweaty, so sometimes I gotta, wipe my face off. And then usually I have extra clothes just in case. Usually I have a backup like workout clothes if I want to work out. Usually like if I go to MPW, they got like a little gym, so I'll change and go work out if I'm feeling it. Or if I'm just really sweaty, I just want to change into something a little more nicer. I'll have that. And yeah, that's usually what I have in my gear bag.
Nice. So, something that we've done in all of these that's just been kind of fun is we've let the current guest pose a question for the next guest. And actually, my previous guest couldn't come up with a question, so I'm actually going to ask you the question that Danny Devine actually posed.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And that is, if you were having what you knew was going to be your last match, who all would you want to be in the audience?
I would say I would want it'd definitely be my mom, and it would probably be funny enough, Danny Devine. I want Danny Devine there. But yeah, I would say all my friends that supported me. I want them there. All my students from Primal.
Gotcha. So, since this is part of a series, do you have a question that you would like to ask the next guest?
Yeah.
What you got?
If you started a pro wrestling school, what would you name it, and what would be the main goal of your school?
Ooh, I like that. Normally, I turn around and ask the question back to the person that just came up with it, but I already know the answers in your case.
Yeah.
So, during his farewell tour, John Cena kept bringing up the concept of leaving wrestling better than he found it. And that just really resonated with me. I just thought, what a cool goal. And I've kind of incorporated that into my repertoire of questions for these. So, what well, I mean, obviously a lot of what you're doing is shaping the next generation and leaving wrestling in that way better than you found it. But are there other ways that you're trying to make a difference in wrestling to where you are trying to leave it better than you found it?
I mean, my big goal is to give opportunities to my guys. I feel like finding many ways to better the product, because I understand that sometimes not every school puts a lot of their budget into improving their school or improving the facility or improving the show. A lot of promoters tend to kind of keep the money for themselves, but I try my best to give back to the students and give them that opportunity to perform at the highest level. So things like that. But I think that's the main thing, as well as like just trying to change how wrestling is perceived and how usual. I just feel like that old school mentality is just like some things about it is good still, I think, but there's also a lot of bad, and I think those are the things that I'm really trying to change with Primal, and I'm hoping that that kind of stuff go out to other places when our students go out and to other promotions, and they kind of go, "Oh, okay, I like how these guys are, and maybe they're doing something right, and maybe we got to look into how they're doing it." So that's kind of the way I'm hoping to shape to make wrestling a little better is change the culture of wrestling to a more positive one with less less bitterness, I would say, which I know is impossible. It might seem impossible, but that's kind of the way I'm going, is trying to really change the culture of indie wrestling.
Gotcha. So we're pretty much at the end of things now. So I'm gonna kind of give you the opportunity to put yourself over, put Primal Pro over, and do you have any upcoming shows or anything at all that you'd like to give some hype to?
Yeah, yeah, I got quite a few. We got two shows coming up, June 6th and 7th. We have a Back to Bayside. That'll be at a brewery show. We'll be having a lot of talent coming in from SoCal as well as Texas coming in to wrestle some Primal guys. That will probably just be filmed, and then we'll be posting that on YouTube later on. And then we also have the night 2 of the Odyssey Cup on the following night on Sunday, where you guys will see the new 2026 Odyssey Cup winner, which, come on, everybody knows it's going to be the Playmaker. Everyone knows it's going to be me, right? So put your money on me.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I just want to also shout out. I'll be flying out to SOS in June. I'll be going up to Seattle, wrestling up there. I'm also looking to be flying out a little more in the East Coast as well. Been talking to promotions in Denver, also a couple other spots, and hopefully you guys will see me a little more in the East Coast as well. And as far as where you guys can see me, you guys can always see me on Instagram. That's where I mostly post. I also post on TikTok. All you guys got to do is look up J2 Mattioli, and you'll see all the content. But you guys can also check out Primal Pro Wrestling. That's where we post a lot of our content, as well as if you guys go on our YouTube, you guys can watch all our live stream shows. You guys can also catch our shows that maybe you want to watch in the past. And we are constantly growing. We're constantly getting more followers, more people watching us, and we started from 50 to now we're averaging 120 every show, and we're growing. So yeah.
Man, I love hearing it, man. And like I said, I'm grateful to Chris Page for turning me on as to what's going on out there, because you and Danny especially have something really special going on with both of your promotions. So
Thank you.
and as far as what we've got coming up on the Throwdown, tomorrow night, Wednesday, May 27th, 7 p.m. Eastern, we've got episode 232. And our guest is a wrestler based right here in the Atlanta area, the Rocker Terry Lawler. And this guy is a veteran of the Ring Wars. His career started back in 1989. And he is still going strong as an indie wrestler, mostly in and around the Atlanta area, but he is 57 years old and still out there doing it. And he's a year older than me, and it's kind of inspiring, actually.
Yeah.
And then on Friday the 29th, at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is 4 p.m. Pacific, we're heading back to Cali. We've got episode 233, and our guest is a Northern California-based wrestler, the Blue Flame Alpha Zoe. I don't know if you're familiar with him being out in Cali, but
oh yeah, we've wrestled before.
Nice. Yeah, he's I actually had one of his students on recently, and that was kind of how I ended up getting connected with him. But it's going to be another fun show. Looking forward to picking his brain. But J2, I've got to thank you for your time, man. This has just been a great conversation, and You know, for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. For those of you that'll be seeing this on replays and such, thank you for that. If you like what we've got going here, definitely do the old like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until tomorrow night at 7 p.m. with the rocker Terry Lawler, be good to each other, love each other, and let's keep throwing down.